So I'm talking to Joost van Tomme at the OECD meeting in Copenhagen, Denmark. Joost, give us a little bit of background about yourself and why you're here at the leaders meeting.
Thank you, Joe, for this opportunity. I'm a lawyer. I'm very much involved into European strategies, European law, and we're doing policy analysis for a lot of clients here in the European Commission.
Okay. How do you see Uglii GovBizMate being able to help the OECD?
Well, I was very interested in this conference as a delegate. What we've noticed today in the discussions is that most of the discussions were going about e-government, about transparency, about access to governmental tools and tricks and tips. But the intervention of John Knorr, the CEO of Uglii, was really striking me. He was the only one standing up and actually saying, hey guys, it's not only about the individuals and the citizens that have to be online with the government, it's also about business. So you need to have a tool or a partnership with private industry, and I believe GovBizMate does that kind of things. It's about governmental transparency of legislations and regulations, so actually that you know as an investor in what country you should go to, and that you can benchmark countries against each other.
Uglii GovBizMate can obviously help those member countries. What about partnership with private industry?
Actually, you're pointing at a very good thing, because this morning we got a discussion with Rolf Alter. Rolf Alter is actually the director, the organizer of this conference, and he's in charge in Paris in the OECD of governmental transparency and territorial development. And one of the questions I asked him is about how do you see private industry cooperating with you? And obviously, as an institution, as a public institution, OECD has 34 governments, but they need the private industry. They need the fuel of the private industry to get the dynamics into the system and to have engagement of the private sector. And he was welcoming very much the principle of GovBizMate. As I've understood this morning from the intervention of John Knorr, is that governmental transparency, benchmarking is very much needed, so that we can all get our SMEs online and having platforms for them to doing transactions, not only among themselves, but also with the governments. And so they know exactly where to invest and what amount it will be for them.
And while at the OECD meeting, I also had the opportunity to speak with Uglii CEO John Knorr. John, it's been a great honour for Uglii to be invited to speak at this meeting.
Absolutely, Joe. Yeah, it's a great thrill. And it came unexpectedly. They invited us, and
there are only a handful of organisations other than the 34 member countries that get invited.
The only technical organisations are Google and Uglii. So it's we're in a fairly elite group.
You are in a fairly elite group. So John, the meeting was being streamed, and I happened to watch it this morning.
For you.
Maybe, and did see you speak on Uglii GovBizMate. How do you think that was received?
Look, it was received very well, and out of it's come two deals, one with the Canadian government to pilot that system, and one with the City of London to pilot that system. So it's a great outcome. We need pilots and leaders in government to work with that system, so the rest of the world can see how it's got to be used. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
So the concept was easily grasped. They understood the benefits.
Yeah. Well, look, these are particularly smart people, I think, and we really only have a choice of, say, 4 governments here. Those are the English-speaking governments, and the first 2 we asked happily obliged, so I couldn't be happier about that. That was good.
Okay. What other things do you think will come out of this meeting?
Well, look, it's a huge prestige thing for Uglii to be associated with
Certainly.
The OECD. It's a prestige economic organisation of the world, probably.
Yes.
And it just puts us in a new light, and they understand the scope of the system. The people in the organisation understand it, and look, I would have been happier if there was more focus on economics at this meeting, but nevertheless, I'm more than happy about the whole thing. So, yeah, I couldn't be happier. And doing those 2 deals is really what we came here for. The bottom line. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I did notice this morning when I was foyering, if that's a word, that a lot of it had to do with individual citizens rather than business.
Yeah, and it was not quite what we're about. Of course, we're only about business, but nevertheless, we got our message across, and governments appreciate that we're giving them an opportunity to use part of the Uglii facilities to help grow their business, grow their economies,
Yeah.
and help business grow, and cut out red tape. And that's something that's been identified by the people that we're doing deals with. They understand the importance of reducing red tape in their economies, and they understand the importance of the competition between governments, so that if one government's using Uglii GovBizMate for those purposes of making their economy look good and helping business understand what they've got to do business in the economy, then others will very quickly catch on. Governments and economies are in competition for capital. So that's the important message, and that's come across clearly.
Right.
Okay? These people understand it
Okay.
very, very, very ably. Yeah.
Right, okay. And I suppose, the big picture is that it's a fantastic opportunity to get Uglii out there on a global economic scale.
Yeah, absolutely. And that means that we'll be, we know we're going to be invited back to other conferences and I think become a vital part of the OECD agenda for economic growth in the OECD. The OECD is the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development. So that's very much Uglii's agenda and
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks very much, John, talking to us during this short break. You should perhaps get up there back
And
into
do
the
a
meeting.
bit of work, yeah.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks, Joe.